Coming up on the Angus Report, Kansas and Texas have pilot programs for animal disease traceability. We talk with representatives from both states about their initiatives.
Learn how genomic profiling can help your commercial heifer selection.
We sat down with Angus Foundation President Milford Jenkins to learn about the organization.
And we look at the 2017 Angus Convention Grand Prize Giveaway and learn about this year's prizes. This is the Angus Report. Welcome to the Angus Report. I'm Bob Cervera.
And I'm Clint Mefford.
This week we're talking about the Kansas and Texas animal disease traceability pilot programs. Ross Wilson, the Texas Cattle Feeders Association CEO, spoke about livestock traceability at the 2018 National Institute for Animal Agriculture Strategy Forum. He told attendees about the state's new pilot program for traceability and what he hopes to come from it.
Texas Cattle Feeders Association has been a longtime supporter of animal ID and traceability. We see many benefits that for the industry as a whole that outweigh the costs. Now that's in the eye of the beholder, and we understand that. That's why we are looking for a way to maybe try to spread that cost out. So we have partnered with the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association, a group of stakeholders, as we've planned to put a pilot project together in Texas, just to hopefully educate and inform producers around the country about the values, obvious values and maybe some not so obvious values of animal ID and traceability. We too are going to do some work on disease traceability. But we also want to take a really hard look at sharing value-added information up and down the production and processing chain to hopefully incentivize producers to put tags in ears and hopefully come out of it with a voluntary, industry-driven system that can carry on and be utilized by the industry after the pilot project. In the event that there might be some disease outbreak some year, as far as Texas producers are concerned, and even those other states I mentioned, we want to start at the ranch of origin and apply the tag if possible, if they have the facilities. If not, then the next step along the way or stop along the way, but tie it back to that premise of origin. So, and we're going to go beyond a bookend system. At least that's the concept that we have on the table today. We want to track the movement of each of those animals. So in the event that there had to be a disease traceback, we would know where that animal had been.
Dr. Justin Smith, the Kansas Animal Health Commissioner, also spoke at the forum. He spoke about how the Kansas program got started and gave an update to where the program is headed.
The way that we got started with our cattle trace project was that we there was several initiatives that came forward. One was through our local livestock association here in Kansas that was basically come out with a resolution that they supported the mandatory traceability for all phases of cattle. So honestly, the pilot program is really just starting. I mean, we're getting our boots on the ground, but no, the response as far as any engagement that we've had, with the producers, with the livestock industry has been positive. They've really embraced it. Obviously, they have some questions. They want to see how it's going to work, but they've really been positive as far as acceptance and willingness to at least look at it and see how it's going to operate. I think our desire and our goal is to prove that it can work. To develop an infrastructure out there that says that we can do what we need it to do, collect the data points that we feel like is necessary to do a traceback, and do it at the speed of commerce. But the other thing that we really wanted to concentrate on is what data points do we need and what do we actually need to do a trace, and that's why we're looking at the minimal data points. The 4 data points we're looking at is one is the official tag number that animal has in it, the GPS coordinates of where that animal has been sighted or read, and the date and time that it was sighted at. The industry itself has got to have that engagement and obviously the conversations. It's not, I think that's where that infrastructure comes in, that there is the ability to be able to trade data back and forth if that's a relationship that they want to build. We got certain producers that have no desire. They don't have any desire. Leave them, we'll put tags in, but I don't need anything back out of it. We've got others that say, yeah, I want to leverage that. And so this gives them an opportunity to start that conversation with them feedlots, and the feedlots are on board. They're interested in seeing this go as well.
Visit cattletrace.org for more information on the Kansas program.
On September 24th, President Donald Trump and South Korean President Moon Jae-in signed a revised United States-Korea Free Trade Agreement. The deal largely benefits U.S. automobile dealers. South Korea now plans to double car purchases per year from 25,000 to 50,000 per manufacturer per year. There is hope improved relations prove beneficial to the growing agricultural commodities trade. President Donald Trump said, quote, "It was very limited as to what they could do and what they could send. Now it's an open market and they're going to be sending a lot more products," unquote. According to Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue, the chorus represents an important improvement in trade relations between the two nations. The U.S. Meat Export Federation reports red meat exports to South Korea increased 69% since the chorus implementation in 2012. South Korea is now the second largest value market for U.S. beef, following Japan. American Farm Bureau Federation President Zippy Duvall encourages similar negotiations to continue, moving next to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Visit ustr.gov for more partnership information.
J.R. Tate, a member of the product development team for Neogen GeneSeq, spoke at the 2018 Beef Improvement Federation Conference. He talked about using genetic profiling for selecting replacement heifers.
The commercial producers need to be aware of genomic profiles because of the tremendous Mendelian sampling that happens when they go out and they buy a high-value genomic enhanced EPD bull that is very good. There's still a lot of sampling of the genetics into the progeny that happen there, and you want to be sure that that commercial producer is able to capture the really good genetics from that sampling, and that's the heifers that they invest in retaining into their operation. And the genomics is a way to do that other than trying to evaluate through visual appraisal or some other kind of phenotype that may not be as indicative as the genomic profile is.
Tate says genetic profiling isn't only for seed stock producers. Commercial cattlemen may also use profiling for herd improvement.
From a commercial producer's standpoint, one of the biggest things that we see a lot of interest in early on is the sire identification for multi-sire parentage, and there they are able to identify which heifers or which progeny are performing the best for them, which bulls are contributing the most to their calf crop, and then they can see which bulls are actually accomplishing the work for them versus the bulls that are not actually producing many calves for them in that scenario. And then we also work with them to help understand how the selection indexes work, as well as what kind of genetic trends those selection indexes will be introducing into their herd so they better understand where their herd's going to be headed into the future.
Visit genomics.neogen.com for more information about genomic profiling. The United States, Mexico, and Canada have finally reached a new trade deal agreement to replace NAFTA. The new deal, known as the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA, includes major changes for cars, labor, environmental standards, intellectual property restrictions, and some digital trade provisions. USMCA will create new market access opportunities for U.S. exports to Canada for dairy, poultry, and eggs. Canada agreed to a soft opening of its dairy market at about 3.6% and agreed to eliminate milk price classes 6 and 7, which cause export problems for U.S. producers. U.S. wheat farmers came out on top when Canada also agreed to remove its national grain grading system that automatically designated U.S. wheat as low grade, which means fit for animal feed but not human consumption. In exchange, Canada will have new access to the U.S. for dairy, peanuts, processed peanut products, sugar, and sugar-containing products. The USMCA has been negotiated, but now needs to be ratified by all three governments. Visit ustr.gov for more information about USMCA. Stay tuned. More Angus Report after a break.
Welcome back to the Angus Report. The 2018 Angus Convention in Columbus, Ohio will be here before we know it.
And the American Angus Association Board of Directors approved membership updates. Rachel Robinson has more with our industry updates.
The American Angus Association Board of Directors approved an optional service for members to have hard copy transferred certificates mailed directly for $3 per certificate. Members can take advantage of the service by using their AAA login in the comment section when checking out. The board also approved to adopt a best practices statement to increase the DNA parentage correction fee to $5 beginning January 1st, 2019. Visit angus.org to view the statement and for more information. The 2018 Angus Convention is set for November 3rd through the 5th in the Buckeye State. There is an excellent lineup of speakers for Angus University and the 2018 Angus Genetics Symposium. The Angus Tour will travel to Clay Lake Run Farms in Newark, Ohio, and the Certified Angus Beef headquarters in Worcester. Let's take a sneak peek at what producers can expect at the CAB Culinary Center.
The idea for our Culinary Center came from our Masters of Brand Advantages program. We had launched the program. It's a 3-week training program, and 1 whole week is focused on meat cuts. And we were actually hosting it at Ohio State University. And while we were there, we knew that the program was going to have a lot of momentum and a lot of great return on investment. And we just had the idea, you know, instead of packing up and renting a facility, what if we held and found a facility in Worcester where we could bring the experience and bring our customers to Worcester and then be able to expose them to a lot more of the experts that we have on staff at Certified Angus Beef versus just 2 or 3 that were maybe able to travel off-site. And next thing you know, we bought a restaurant and turned it into a culinary center. When customers visit the Education and Culinary Center, they get a really cool experience. We want to make sure that they have the chance to be hands-on and experience our product so they can step into the meat lab and do some cutting with our meat scientists. They can cook alongside of our chefs. They can taste, sample, learn about our cuts. We break it down to the numbers. What is the profitability of each item? Since we opened, we started with a really small meat lab area. We built on, expanded, and have our own dedicated meat lab, which allows us to have just a lot more interaction. We can have 6 sides of beef and 20 people breaking down some sides. It gets kind of crazy, but it's a lot of fun.
Visit angusconvention.com for more information.
We check in now on the latest cattle market news with our market update, brought to you by Cattle Facts.
Hello, I'm Troy Bockelman with the Cattle Facts Update. The U.S. meat trade data for August was released and posted some impressive shipments. Beef exports were record high, and both pork and broiler shipments were above year-ago levels. Tariffs have been announced on U.S. steel and aluminum imports, and countries have responded with retaliatory tariffs on U.S. beef and pork. Currently, China and Mexico have placed tariffs on U.S. pork, and beginning in July, the tariffs are at a rate of 78% and 20% respectively. Canada has also placed a tariff on processed U.S. beef imports at 25%. While the amount of processed beef that goes to Canada is relatively small, Mexico is the largest destination for U.S. pork. In 2017, the U.S. shipped 1.8 billion pounds of pork to Mexico. This was 32% of all U.S. pork exports, equaling 7% of U.S. pork production. With exports to China included, 40% of U.S. pork exports are now under increased tariffs. In the first 2 months of tariffs, July and August, pork exports were 9% and 5% above a year ago, indicating the market has adjusted to the tariffs. One impressive market for U.S. pork in 2018 has been South Korea, up 41% or 139 million pounds in the first 8 months. Beef exports were 287 million pounds in August, a new record in both tonnage and value. Much like pork, South Korean demand for U.S. beef has been strong in 2018. Beef exports to South Korea up 45% or 135 million pounds so far in 2018. Mexico and Japan are also seeing growth of 9% and 7% respectively, while slight decreases are noted in Canada and Hong Kong. Broiler exports had the largest month since October of 2017 at 624 million pounds and 8% above a year ago. Unlike beef and pork, where the top 5 destinations consume most of the product, broilers shipped to nearly 150 countries. In August, 124 countries received U.S. broiler meat, and 56% of those countries saw year-over-year increases. As expansion continues across all 3 protein sectors, it'll be important that exports continue to perform. A strong global economy and the recent news on the renegotiation of NAFTA will help ensure continued export growth. Yet continuing to develop and expand market access in the global economies will help to ensure a healthy domestic protein market structure. For the Angus Report and Cattle Facts, I'm Troy Bockelman.
To learn more about Cattle Facts, your leading source for beef industry market information, visit cattlefacts.com.
Next on the Angus Report, we hear from the Angus Foundation President, Milford Jenkins.
He tells us how the nonprofit organization works and the benefits of donating. Stay with us. The Angus Foundation is a building block for the American Angus Association. Education, youth, and research are at the Foundation's core. The not-for-profit organization was established in 1980 and has helped advance the Angus breed ever since. We sat down with Angus Foundation President Milford Jenkins to learn more about the organization.
A 501c3 organization provides the opportunity for those interested in supporting that cause to make tax-deductible gifts to the extent allowed by law. And thus the Angus Foundation was established in 1980 as an entity of the American Angus Association to provide the platform for Angus breeders, Angus enthusiasts, as well as corporations to make gifts to the Angus Foundation to support either unrestricted gifts or restricted gifts to the specific area of interest to them. The Angus Foundation's three foci mission of education, youth, and research in the area of youth, for example, funded $225,500 to 111 Angus youth through scholarships at the National Junior Angus Show. And certainly in the area of education, the Women Connected Conference, Cattlemen's Boot Camps, and in addition to that, the Beef Leaders Institute and the Young Cattlemen's Conference. The Angus Foundation since 2005 has invested right at $1.5 million in beef cattle research projects that would range from heat stress to high altitude disease to feed efficiency, reproduction, fertility. Our current research projects would align very, very closely with the American Angus Association's long-range strategic plan that was adopted in November of 2016. And those four core areas would be fertility, leg and feet structure, animal health, and also genomics. Individuals of all ages are certainly welcome to support their Angus Foundation and can make gifts either unrestricted or perhaps a specific area or a specific program in the Angus Foundation. The joy of giving, I think, is the reason why people support causes that they're passionate about. It's experiencing the joy of knowing that they have helped somebody have a better tomorrow than today. Just experiencing the joy of giving, regardless the size of the gift.
Visit angusfoundation.org to learn how you can contribute to the foundation. Up next, we look back at the 2017 Angus Convention Grand Prize giveaway and learn about the 2018 prizes. Stay tuned.
Two very lucky Angus Convention attendees will walk away with the 2018 Grand Prize giveaways. Again this year, Preferred has partnered with TrueTest to give away a complete livestock handling system. And new this year, John Deere has donated a 2018 Gator crossover utility vehicle. Two names will be drawn at the convention on Sunday, November 4th. Let's look now at the 2017 Preferred TrueTest winners.
We don't usually win too many things, so it was one of those things that said, are you sure? And then I don't really get up excited and jump up and down, but it ranks up there. Materially, it may be the biggest thing that I've ever won or anything.
Absolutely ecstatic. I have been after Dave for the last at least 6 years to get us a drum system to go on our present chute system. I couldn't believe we actually won one.
I was more excited when Joan come down out of the stands because she's the one that was just ecstatic about winning this. It was like a little kid at Christmas getting a new bicycle. She was happy.
When they took the TrueTest wand and were reading the balls and everybody's name got called but Dave's, I knew we'd won the system and I just couldn't believe it.
The Lechkas won a SO4 squeeze chute and a rough stock cattle handling system, sheeted tub with a modified sheeted alley, and a small holding pen.
Okay, so this system included a livestock scale system designed to go underneath a manual squeeze chute. So it consisted of the HD 1010 load bars, an XR 5000 digital scale indicator, an XRS electronic ID stick reader, and a Water Pro automatic water for cattle.
The system that we developed over 40 years, and I got it so it worked, and it was people that would come and say, oh, I could do this in my barnyard. So it wasn't all bad, but as you get older, it's not as safe either.
We put plyboard in so we'd have solid sides, and it's very interesting. The cattle like to eat plyboard. They like to gnaw the wood a little bit. This one definitely looks like it'll be easier to use.
This system is designed to help them track and measure performance. So as they weigh these animals and collect data, they can monitor their growth, they can monitor their feed efficiencies, their treatments, and all those notes and records are recorded in the scale heads.
I really like the fact that we have this technology tied into this, that it's not just a shooting system, that we have the wand to go with the IED, we have the weigh floor in the bottom of it, and again, it's going to bring production and management together much more efficiently.
It's awesome. It's going to be a lot safer. It's for the cattle and for us. This will make it a lot easier.
This was our second year doing the giveaway with Angus. It's a great partnership, Preferred, Angus, and True Test. It's our kind of people, our kind of customers.
I really couldn't believe it. I didn't know that such a great prize was offered through the association there at the convention.
All the people that are involved in the Angus Association and stuff are, I mean, it's just like a big family, so.
I have to tell you, I'm part of the medical profession, and I've been in agriculture for most of my life. I have never been to a convention that is better put together and more educational than what the Angus Association puts on. You want to shake hands? Not much difference, is there? Oh, we got a high five, you know. Okay.
Well, Bob, I look forward to Angus Convention this year and seeing how the giveaway winners put their systems to use.
Yeah, that will be interesting, especially to see how a more modern system for livestock gets put into place.
That'll be extremely important to see.
It is. All right, that's all for this week's Angus Report. We'll return next week at this time for more cattle news and highlights.
In the meantime, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Angus TV, for more from the association. Thanks for joining us.